article just came out, right? And some of the people that are your detractors, like Oscar or Leonard at times, you're not always his favorite. They don't always have the most favorable things to say about you, but you're ranked as the #1 boxing promoter. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we're the only global promotional company in the business. So look, you can always debate who's the biggest in what market, right? But one thing you can never debate is who is the biggest globally, because we're the only global promotional company in the world. You know, we're doing 35 to 40 shows a year. We're in the UK, we're in America, we're in Mexico. You know, this weekend we have a show. We're in Australia, Italy, Spain, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, everywhere. So we're on another level to all of the promotional companies as a global business. But you've always got the debate of who is #1 in the US, who is #1 in the UK. So, you know, I think it's all good. You know, I mean, you have to understand, I've also got a job to do to raise my profile in America, to become, you know, a face of the business and a face of boxing, or a spokesman for boxing in here. And when you've got people like Oscar de la Hoya, who is a legend of the sport with a huge profile, saying my name all the time, or you've got Gervonta Davis, who is one of the faces of boxing, saying my name all the time, it's very good for me. So I like to just wind them up a little bit and keep them talking, you know.
Eddie, what's the logical next step, Eddie?
Look, I mean, the logical next step is, for me, there's a lot of work to do still in America. Like, we've had tremendous success, obviously, with Canelo Alvarez, you know, with huge fights with him. And now, you know, you look at our schedule, obviously we're in Puerto Rico with Subriel Matias. You know, we've had a great run with Devin Haney in the past. You've got Jaron Boots Ennis now, which was a flagship signing for us. You've got Bam against Estrada, June 29. You know, we had Dimitri Bivol, who's got big fights coming. So we're in a great position. But now I think it's time to start signing these guys up. We've had probably 6 or 7 of the top 20 pound-for-pound fighters in the world come on to us in the last month wanting to sign with Matchroom. One of them was Jaron Ennis. But I think my worry is always that we can't deliver on our promises, and I would never sign a fighter if we can't deliver. And the worry is that you sign too many fighters and then they become inactive. We've seen it so many times, right? So I want to be really selective on who we sign, but I do think it's now time to gobble up 2 or 3 of these great talents and really give them the platform and the promotion that they deserve. I mean, it still baffles me. You've got a guy like Boots, who in my opinion may be in an argument for pound top 5 within 12 months, right?
#1.
And it's like, we went on sale yesterday. We had 4,500 tickets. That's all we had on the pre-sale. We sold them out instantly. How on earth has Boots Ennis not boxed or headlined in Philadelphia? It's absolutely crazy. I don't understand it. Is it laziness? Is it you want to keep him in a box? Like, you know, and if you look at what we did when we took Devin Haney to San Francisco, we sold 16,000 tickets at the Chase Center. Like, and you've got to sometimes roll the dice a little bit, but you're not really rolling the dice when you're headlining him in his own city where he's born and bred, in a sports city like Philadelphia as well, with a great venue like this. So we go on general sale today. I reckon at the end of today we'll be at, I don't know, 6, 7, 8,000. We've got 9 weeks to go to the event. You imagine you're Jaron Ennis, you walk in here today and you look around and you go, fuck me, I have arrived. My name is everywhere. I'm up on the Jumbotron. You guys are here. My press conference is in Philadelphia. We've sold out the lower bowl already nearly. Like, it's such a great feeling. And for a special fighter, that's where you're going to get the best out of them. When you make them feel like a star, you know. But the ones that perform under this kind of pressure in their home city, they're the real stars. And Jaron Ennis is a star. And I like this kid, Cody Crowley, by the way. You know, I've seen him up the rocky steps this morning. He's 22-0. I think he won't be good enough on the night, but he'll be bringing it. So let's see how Boots is. And anything less than an A-star performance from Boots is not good enough. Because we've got to win these titles at 147, and then he's got to go and fight Terence Crawford if Crawford can come through Madrimov. And every day that passes, I still think to myself, Madrimov is going to flatten Terence Crawford on August the 3rd in Los Angeles, as much as I love Terence Crawford.
Eddie, is it safe to say you have now 2 of the most young killers on your team? You got Subriel Matias and now signing Boots. with him having his first, like you said, it's a shocker to everyone why he hasn't ever headlined here in Philadelphia. With that being said, are you a secret mastermind genius signing two of the young killers in all of boxing?
Do you know how long I've tried to sign Jaron Ennis? 5 years, right? I had my first meeting to sign Jaron Ennis on the Danny Jacobs Canelo Alvarez fight week at the MGM Park Hotel. I remember it, right? 5 years ago, everyone was talking about Jaron Ennis. This kid coming through, I'm telling you, this is the one, right? A year passed, we tried again, 3 years. But in the end, Sean Palmer and Kevin Rooney, shout out to those guys at Matchroom, they're going to me, we've had another meet. We think we can sign Boots. I'm like, guys, please don't waste my fucking time. You're like teasing me, you know? It's like every time you sort of give, no, and then you pull it away from me. And then, you know, once we knew that we could get it done, it was a massive signing for us because you look at that division as well, you know, the timing's so good. No one's going to want to fight Boots Ennis. But you've got people now who are champions at 47 that will look now at Boots as their payday, right? Barrios, Stanionis. What other fights are they going to be in? They need to be looking for the Boots fight, for me to pay up, or a site fee to pay up, or wherever to pay up to give them their payday. So I want him to see him beat Crowley, then I want to see him unify against Barrios or Stanionis or those kind of guys. And you know, His Excellency has already said he loves the Terence Crawford Boots Ennis fight. You know, I took him to see him and he knows he's boxing. And he knows. But the thing is with Terence also knows, right? Terence thinks he can beat anyone. And he's a pound for pound great. I mean, he's a legend of the sport. But he also knows he's boxing. And he knows how good Boots Ennis is. And he'll fight him. But only for the big bag. You know? So we got to make the fight big enough for someone to pay the big bag.
Speaking of His Excellency, I mean, obviously what he's doing in the sport is sort of, you know, disruptive in a good way. You guys have obviously built a relationship globally, but now he's coming to do his first card here in America. Could you talk about just, I guess, his end goals and the conversations that you guys have in terms of what you're looking to build?
Yeah, I mean, for him, he has an unbelievable energy and love and passion for boxing. He feels, you know, I'm not putting words in his mouth, I think he said it in interviews, he feels that the sport is slightly fragmented and broken, and we've got to work together to deliver fans what they want. And no one can argue that so far, the fights that he's putting on are delivering for fight fans. I mean, August 3rd, especially if you talk about Wilder potentially against Jared Anderson, I mean, that's the greatest fight card I think the country's ever seen. So, obviously the vision is there, but honestly, this isn't a guy that's just coming in going, spend, and like, I don't really know what I'm doing. He has a very sharp mind and he has a vision for the sport to take it forward. Now, whether that vision will work, if you've got the appetite and you've got the passion and if you've got the bankroll, I think it does work. But it's going to take everyone to stay together to keep making these fights. You know, when we was in New York recently, just before the press conference, you got everybody on the phone. You know, I'm there, Louis DeCubas is next to me, we're making fights. You know, Golden Boy are on the phone, Top Ranker on the phone, and it's like he's the one in the middle because we all know that Oscar's not going to want to make fights with me, right? PBC aren't going to want to make fights with me. If he's in the middle brokering those fights, we're seeing them get done. So he's doing a tremendous job to do that. And, you know, I think August 3rd is going to be incredible.
Eddie, do you see, you mentioned the pre-sale, you mentioned what you can do over the next 9 weeks. Do you see this building being more of a consistent or maybe even permanent home for Jaron Ennis?
I mean, this has to be his home. You know, if we can bring unification fights here, everything stems from July 13. And what I mean by that is, one, the amount of people that are in the building, and two, more importantly, the performance. You know, we had a chance once when Demetrius Andrade boxed in Providence against Sulecki, right? We sold about 8,000, right? It was a brilliant atmosphere. The city really came out. He knocked down Sulecki in the first round twice, and then it went to points, right? And it's like, if he would have taken him out in the first or second round, we could have really built off that and gone again. And that's the same with Jaron. If Jaron comes here and it's not a good performance, if he squeezes out a points victory or he loses, people aren't going to buy into it. I can't stand here and tell you this is the second coming of Mayweather or Crawford or these guys, and you don't go in there and look sensational. The pressure is on him to look sensational. If he looks sensational on July 13, they'll come back and they'll come back again, and this will end up being Boots Ennis' home.
Hey Eddie, real quick, I know we probably spoke on this many times, but I know Ryan claimed that he wants to get his B sample. I know that they said that he didn't feel for 2 substance. He still failed for Austrian in his A sample. Just what's your whole thoughts on this whole situation?
I mean, I get a lot of hate. I read my DMs the other day on Instagram. There's a lot of Ryan Garcia fans. Stop doing this to Ryan. Stop that. Like, this is a really simple situation. Ryan Garcia failed a drugs test, 2 drugs tests. When he entered the ring that night against Devin Haney, he had performance-enhancing drugs in his system. Now, I've seen the stuff about the levels. I think it was reported, confirmed 60 times the level of what you're allowed. It's quite a lot, and you could talk about it's only point this and point that. Guys, come on, right? Now, what I've said before, and I've said it again, to Ryan Garcia, to all the Ryan Garcia fans around the world, I really hope he's innocent. I even give him the benefit of the doubt, right? I like innocent until proven guilty. But we have to deal with the reality, which is this. Whatever happened, whether he cheated or whether he was unlucky, he had performance-enhancing drugs in his system when he boxed Devin Haney, okay? Unlucky or not, that's fact. Therefore, the contest will, in my opinion, 100% be a no contest. Not that it actually, I say, really matters. I don't think Ryan Garcia is overly bothered about his record. I think Devin Haney is more. But all I'm saying is, right now, if you're Devin Haney and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I went 12 rounds in a war with that guy who came in 3.5 pounds over, who was God knows how many pounds heavier than me on fight night, and on top of that, he had performance-enhancing drugs in his system. You can imagine how Devin Haney's feeling right now. So I don't get any of this, come on, guy. I mean, look, like, you got the Conor Benn situation. I've been in it, I'm still in it. We're still having hearings about it. It's 2 years on, right? And by the way, and I'll talk further about this in time, but what was found in Conor Benn's system was much less than what was found in Ryan Garcia's system, right? And I fully believe Conor Benn, right? I've been through various hearings with him, and Ryan's got to go through all these hearings. Like I say, I give him the benefit of the doubt. But what we can't do is just ignore the reality, which is he had performance-enhancing drugs in his system in the fight. And I'll tell you one other thing that I listened to Gervonta Davis. It is so painful listening to this guy who knows absolutely nothing, right? And he's like, I don't know if you saw the clip. He's like, yeah, what I want to know is, like, how comes they let him fight if he had it in his system? It's like, the test's on Friday and Saturday. Yeah, but why didn't they get it back within 3 days? In no VADA testing, in the history of VADA testing, has any result come back in 3 days. It takes anywhere between like 10 days absolute minimum, and sometimes up to 28 days to get a result back. In fact, funnily enough, when that result came back, we also received a result from Joe Cordina, a negative result, on the same day of testing, the same day that other test came through, on April 20, right? So there's nothing untoward about the period of testing. One of the things that people keep talking about, and they do have a point, this whole, what is the point in testing on Friday and Saturday if you're not going to get the results back in time and you allow someone to enter the ring? I disagree with that. You still have to test to find out if someone did cheat. What are you going to do? Stop testing 2 weeks before and go, okay guys, we're not going to test anymore, you can do what you want. So, I don't know enough about these substances, I don't know enough about the nanograms and pictograms and all this bullshit. We deal in reality, which is this. He entered the ring with performance-enhancing drugs in his system, okay? Now he has to prove that he didn't take them intentionally. If he didn't take them intentionally, I feel really sorry for him, and I hope innocence prevails. If he did take them intentionally and he cheated, that's another story, and he, arguably should never be able to fight again. I believe him in this situation because I want to give a fighter the benefit of the doubt. I don't know him, I've never spoken to him. But when you're sitting there saying, oh, I wasn't taking PEDs, I was smoking weed and I was drinking every night, and then you see clips of him and IV drips in and all this sort of stuff, it ain't a good look. So if I was him, just stay professional at this point, let your lawyers deal with the situation. Hopefully he was unlucky, but we have to go through due process.
Eddie, how real is rumors of Manny Pacquiao Conor Benn?
Manny Pacquiao Conor Benn was pretty much there to be done, but we're still going through the process. As I said, this is a lengthy process. I mean, we're 2 years in and we're still having hearings. Conor Benn has boxed twice. but he hasn't been able to fight in his own country. And he's, you know, I would say that's ridiculous 2 years on. So we'll see what ban Ryan Garcia gets and see how that reflects on the Conor Benn situation. But, you know, again, you know, Gervonta's comments, he was going to let Conor Benn fight after he failed a drugs test. Not at all. It's not my choice. It's down to the commission. All of those reports go to the commission and the commission makes their decision. I don't overrule a commission. And in this instance with Ryan Garcia, the New York State Athletic Commission will be the ones ruling on this. No one else. Right? So it won't be the WBC, it won't be any governing body, it will be the New York State Athletic Commission will decide the fate of Ryan Garcia.
Eddie, question for you. You just mentioned a little while ago, you know, building Matchroom up, and it's time to grow the sport here or grow the promotion here in America. You're looking to gobble up some fighters. Canelo just had a fight a few weeks ago, or a week ago. You guys have a relationship. Could you see yourself, one, potentially working with Canelo again? And although I know you mentioned Bud Boots being a potential fight down the line, Bud has shown a lot of interest in wanting to fight Canelo. What do you think about that as potentially being something that could happen down the line?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, right now, the only fighter in the mix I have, well, two fighters under contract for that is Edgar Berlanga, who's the mandatory with the WBA, Dimitri Bivol, who obviously has the victory over Canelo Alvarez. The most important thing for me, I mean, unselfishly, is to make sure that DAZN continue airing Canelo Alvarez fights, which they do a great job of doing. And, you know, they had a very successful time with a Munguia fight, which was on DAZN and also Amazon as well. Not speaking on Canelo's behalf because I don't represent him. I don't think he's overly interested in the Terence Crawford fight because I think he'll be thinking, I'm not going to get any credit for beating Terence Crawford. He's a 147 pounder who's just moved to 154. You're asking him to move up to 168 and fight a guy that's going to massively outsize him. And also, at this stage in Canelo Alvarez's career, stylistically, I'm not sure he wants to fight a mover that he's going to be chasing around the ring. And I think that was the case when he boxed Charlo. I don't think he enjoyed that fight. I think he enjoyed the Munguia fight because it was a young, big super middleweight coming to win. I think he'd have the same kind of enjoyment out of an Edgar Berlanga fight. But money talks. I mean, you know, the one thing you know about Saul is he is all about the money. And what I love about him is he don't try and hide it. Do you know what I mean? He's achieved everything. He's got the belts. He's got the legacy. There's nothing else to do other than being fights that motivate him and being fights that make him money. And that's why when people criticise him about the 200 million from Benavidez, I actually think that's a great play. Because you never know. Someone might pay it. But what's the point in coming out and saying, give me 75 million and I'll fight Benavidez? Because someone will just go, done. Yeah. Give me 200. You know, as I say, shoot for the stars, and if you miss, you land on the clouds. Shoot for the clouds, you miss, you land on your ass.
200
so
200 from you, maybe? Possibly?
No.
Are you in Turkey?
What about you?
I'm just asking.
No, listen, but look, whether it's 200, whether it's 150, whether it's 100, I like the style. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, hey, you lot, you motherfuckers, you want me to fight Benavidez? You want that fight? Pay me. If not, I'll fight Berlanga next, or I'll fight him, and then, you know, I do believe. One thing I promise you about Sal, knowing him, he ain't afraid of no one. I promise you he'll fight anyway. He has no problem fighting Benavidez, no problem fighting Crawford. It's all about the money, but he does want to be in exciting fights. I know that.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.